Despite not being consistently healthy in the first half of his freshman season, it still looks like Darryn Peterson is going to be a lock as the #1 overall pick. And he's shown so far this year that when he's healthy and right on the court, his talent is for sure real. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive on the film to see what exactly makes Peterson such a sought after prospect. Plus, we're going to nitpick his game to see if he has any room for improvement. Now, from a bird's eye view, there's two clear things that stand out about Peterson's game, and that's going to be his physical tools and shot making. First, standing at 6'6" with an over 6'10" wingspan, Peterson already has the ideal build to play 1 through 3 in the NBA, and then along with that length, he also has really good quick twitch explosiveness. Off the bounce, he has the burst to dust the defense with straight line blow-bys. There's no nonsense with this move here. He's going to catch with an empty corner, plus the big man is sealing off down low, so that's just a hard rip through to his left. And what I also love about Peterson's driving game is that once he gets in the paint, he's elevating with the intent to score, often attacking the backline big's body and looking to muscle up finishes.
Peterson attacks.
Along with that straight line driving, Peterson also has a pretty fluid handle, being able to change his pace, rhythm, and direction without breaking stride. Off the catch here, watch him transfer the ball through and float his feet up, giving himself more momentum into the stride. The ball control on this play is elite, where it's first a between cross combo, but look how he throws the ball forward and slices through the gap to then find his base and pop up for a 2-foot floater. Now off the bounce, Peterson is also a legit pull-up shooting threat, and he's great at weaponizing that to create more drives. Off this pick here, look how he pulls the big up by lifting up those eyes, to then drop back down and extend with his left. Again, I love the footwork and ball control here, where as the ball floats across to his left, he feels the blitz coming and splits it back through. Then in the paint, it's right back to attacking the defense's body. When coming downhill, Peterson also has a pretty good floater game, and shots like these will serve him well against the top tier rim protectors at the next level. And what I love about these looks is that he can both get them off on 2 feet or pick up and stride off 1 foot. The timing and footwork here is elite, where he first rips towards the baseline, but then elevates early off that ball side foot. So as an off the dribble slasher, Peterson pretty much checks all the boxes. He's got elite burst with the ball, a fluid handle, plus a variety of ways to score once he beats the first line of defense. But the thing is, you can make an argument that this isn't even the best part of Darryn's scoring, because what's really been getting a lot of NBA teams excited is that shooting off the dribble. First, Peterson right now is shooting exactly 50% in the mid-range. And from these spots, I just love the process. He's always on balance, has great lift on his jumper, and he's already comfortable leveraging that driving thread to create space. With his left hand here, look how he's just driving through contact. And when he feels this defender's stance open up, that's his cue to slam the brakes and rise up. And like you just saw, Peterson's also very good at playing physical and carving out space when working the spots. And that combined with his lift and shot making already gives him the foundation of an elite in-between score. This move and shot here is big time, where he's first driving hard to his right, and watch him throw that inside shoulder into contact to then bump out and land on 2 feet. But from this spot, he has the balance and stability to keep his base and get himself angled to the rim as he elevates. In open space, Darryn is also very good at using the handle to shift and create more breathing room to elevate. This is sharp footwork here, where after this right to left crossover, look how the right foot follows and flows into a step back. Now, when extending out and looking at Darryn's pull-up shooting from 3, his numbers right now are pretty low. But even though most of these looks aren't falling, there's no doubt that the potential is there. Again, he has really good flow into his jumper, can pull up going both right and left, plus he has a consistent foundation on all his shots. What I really think is driving those numbers down is his shot selection. Like we've already gone over, Peterson has a really good in-between and rim scoring game, but he often elects to let the defense off the hook by uncorking off-balance pull-up threes early in the shot clock. And I especially don't like these looks if the defense is stepping up and meet him at the level, because that should always be the green light to put his foot on the gas and attack below the arc. And this leads us to Peterson's biggest area of improvement, and that's going to be his ability to read the game. From just a raw scoring ability standpoint, I think Darryn checks all the boxes. He can shoot off the dribble, beat anybody one-on-one, while also being a super explosive athlete around the basket. But at the same time, he needs to get better at reading the defense and knowing which part of his game he needs to get into. There's often many times where he'll have space to attack into off the bounce, but instead stops and settles for more difficult pull-ups. Or he'll misread the floor and drive right into the help defense.
When this guy's out there, they hang their head up.
But things like these are natural growing pains with any young and super talented scorer. And as a whole, I do think Darryn in spots has shown to have a pretty good feel of the game. First, in pick and roll, if he gets two on the ball, he does have enough of a feel to find the roller or make the right pass on the weak side. But the thing is, Darryn still needs to get better at probing and really trying to pull the defense. In pick and roll or isolation, if he gets two on the ball, his first instinct is to always look to pick up and get rid of it, as opposed to keeping his dribble alive and really bending the defense. And granted, sometimes this is still enough to create breakdowns and open shots, but you're also giving the floor more time to rotate, leading to less clean advantages for his teammates. As he comes off the screen here, notice as soon as he picks up his dribble, how the rest of the defense starts to scramble, and that split second gives them more time to rotate down to the roller. And while the pass does sneak through, the catch and finish isn't as clean. That lack of patience also bleeds over to his shot selection. There's many times at a pick and roll where he forces these quick pickups to then throw up a really bad 15-foot floater. And shots like these come back to him not being comfortable probing. On all of these clips, it would be much better for him to keep his dribble alive and let the play unfold, as opposed to forcing something that isn't there. So again, for a player that just turned 19, these aren't major issues. I think lots of this stuff will get cleared up with more reps and experience. But with that being said, I do think for the rest of this year and his first couple of seasons in the NBA, he's going to go through some major growing pains. And that's especially going to be the case at the next level, because from every position, there's a lot more physicality and length, and your game is going to be underneath a microscope every night. So while Peterson does have a lot of juice as an on-ball creator, he still has a lot of room for improvement to be a reliable engine for an NBA offense. Now, what really separates Peterson as a prospect is that he also brings a big scoring punch off the ball. As of this recording, he's shooting over 47% on catch and shoot threes. With these looks, Peterson has all the right tools, always catching on bounce and getting the ball up to a set point in one smooth motion. And skills like these will have an immediate impact at the next level, because every single roster in the NBA knows how to utilize spot-up shooting. So Darryn being able to come in and knock down shots at an over 40% clip is going to for sure bring value.
Peterson will try.
While spotting up, Darryn also has pretty good footwork. The movement here is subtle but very effective, where as the ball is coming downhill, look how he's going to slightly relocate to his left, creating a clear window for this pass. Off the ball, that footwork also allows him to work off a variety of screening actions. He can float up into open space off pin downs, fade out off flare screens, or sprint uphill into open space from the paint. And again, these are all actions that are constantly being run by NBA offenses. While working off these screening actions, Darryn still has the off the dribble game in his back pocket. He can put the ball down and slice through rotations, or curl off the screen and attack into open space with pull-ups or floaters. But like we saw with Darryn's game out of pick and roll, he also needs to get better at reading the defense off the ball while playing off the catch. If he's receiving an aggressive closeout, he's often too eager to settle for contested jumpers. On plays like these with the defense sprinting out of him, he's practically being spoon-fed downhill drives. And while he does have the lift and quick mechanics to get a shot off at will, I'd still rather see him attacking below the arc as opposed to launching up contested threes. So again, with Darryn's game, the guy has all the elements you could want out of any wing or backcourt prospect. He can knock down shots both off the dribble and catch, create offense in pick and roll or isolation, while having the tools to be plugged into any off-ball action. I think for him, it all boils down to reading the defense. In pick and roll, he needs to get better at probing and finding the best available shot, as opposed to seeking out the first look that comes to him. But off the ball in the inverse way, he just needs to take the best available looks that come to him. If he catches with space, spot-up threes are always going to be great shots for him. But then if the defense is running him off the line, he should then be leaning on those athletic tools and ball skills. So from just his explosiveness and shot making, Darryn Peterson is probably the most talented scorer in this draft class, and his ceiling at the NBA level is really high. But like every young prospect, the guy still has plenty of flaws. Now, when looking at Darryn's play on the other side of the ball, this is another area where I think he has a lot of room for improvement. To start off with the positives, his length and foot speed already makes him a pretty impactful on-ball defender, being able to both slide and contain the ball, plus shoot up to contest shots. And that mobility also makes him pretty effective at navigating screens. However, defensively, I think Peterson does his best work in gap. From these spots, he's great at putting himself in position to both affect the ball and recover back to his man. On this play, notice how he gets out of position for a split second, but he's still able to scramble back out and get a hand up on the shot. And again, from here, that quickness also plays a big factor, where he can catch the offense off guard by teleporting into passing lanes. So with Peterson's talent alone, I think he already has the build to be a plus defender. But with that being said, I still think Peterson has a lot of warts. First, whether he's playing on or off the ball, I do think his physicality has a lot of room for improvement. When guarding in isolation, the offense can often drive right through his frame. In transition here, look how he's both backpedaling and has his stance opened up. With that top foot exposed, he gets beat with a crossover. In the paint, Peterson's also unwilling to put his body in the play. The ball's coming downhill towards him. He often elects to swipe for fouls instead of putting his body in the play. Another big issue is the way Darryn defends off-ball screening actions, where his man either moves him off his spot or he's just a step low on his team's coverage. Against West Virginia last week, he had multiple botches on this cross-screen action below the basket, where he was a step late and gave up multiple easy twos at the rim. So like we saw with Peterson's offense, the talent and ability is for sure there. But still, I think he does need to bring more consistent focus on a night-to-night basis. And again, at the next level, the sets only get more complicated. So if he's having issues guarding a simple cross-screen action across the paint, he's going to most likely have his hands full going into next year. So to answer the question of just how good is Darryn Peterson, I think he's for sure a really talented scorer both on and off the ball, while possessing some elite athletic tools. But with the way he reads and processes the game, he still has a lot of room for improvement. There's no doubt that in his first couple of seasons, he'll have some big scoring nights. But in order for him to really reach that ceiling, a lot more development has to happen.